Hello and welcome back to Medicine in Small Doses with Dr. Amobi. I'm your host, Uju, and on today's episode we are discussing faith, facts and breast cancer, what Black women need to know. Today's conversation might be one that saves a life. So we are talking very specifically about why Black women are dying from breast cancer at higher rates. So with me as always is Dr. Amobi. He's a lifestyle medicine and longevity expert, and he spent 15 plus years asking questions, challenging systems and educating Black women on how to protect their health. This is going to be a raw and honest conversation full of truth, and without further ado, let's dive in. So Dr. Amobi, can you start, well, you didn't start this journey because of personal illness, thankfully, but can you tell us why you wanted to discuss this topic today?
Yeah, thank you for that. This journey started when I was a young doctor. Like I always prefix my talks, I always give, some examples.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a particular moment that I will never forget. I was still a junior doctor back then. This Black woman came in with a breast lump. So it was one of my rotations as junior. When we're training as a doctor, you have to go from one department to the other so that you can learn medicine and get a flavor of it. So within so this Black lady showed up with, her doctor referred her to the surgeons.
Mm-hmm.
And then the surgeon examined her and thought like perhaps she needed what they call a wide local excision to need to get the lump out, and then of course do biopsy, the whole shebang. But she declined. What is striking about this lady, however, is that she was a woman of strong faith.
Right.
So she decided to pursue healing through prayer instead. Now, I'm a man of faith too, and I respected her belief. But I remember sitting with her and saying, look, the same way God had given someone the knowledge to fix your car that you drove to clinic today, and God gave you the skill to do your job, He also gave doctors the wisdom to treat diseases. So it's not God versus doctors. You have to start thinking about it as God and doctors working together, right? And that moment really stuck with me. From that day forward, every time I saw a Black woman in clinic that's over 25, on most occasions than not, I would ask them, do you do your breast check? And honestly, the answer is actually sobering, to be fair.
Okay, because you've actually tracked this in your own practice, haven't you?
Absolutely, I have. So let's say, for example, if I ask like about 1,000 Black women this year alone,
Mm-hmm.
whether they've done regular self-breast exams, maybe 70 will say yes. And out of the 70 that said yes, a significant proportion of those ones who said yes will be Caribbean women.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes to show that, it tells me two things. Number one, is either the message is not reaching enough women, or there's a lot of cultural and regional factors that may influence people's awareness in it, but we can't afford to ignore either, right? I had this lady, a highly respected lady, super educated, and one day I asked her, like, do you do your own self-breast exam?
Mm-hmm.
And then she says to me, why do I want, she was asking, like, she found it weird that she's gonna have to like looking for, she said, if you keep looking for something bad, you're gonna find it. And I was taken aback by that. I was like, but you cut your hair, and it takes only 30 seconds a minute to examine your breast. So it is quite extraordinary, the way, and I totally understand, and it's scary. You know what I mean? You could be living your life and bang, you feel a lump and then your whole life changes. I totally get that. but I think the message need to penetrate in our community a bit more.
Okay, so let's talk about then why it's so important and why the numbers are so staggering.
Yeah, so the numbers are actually really staggering. As I said, like you're getting about 1 in 8 women, so that means about 13% of women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So for every 8 women that you see, not literally all those 8 people, but 1 out of 8 would have a breast cancer. I told one patient this statistic, and she said to me, at least it's not 50%, right? And I was like, I was taken aback by it, So then I had to break it down. So number one, let's put the genetic risk. So if someone has a family history of an inherited form of breast cancer called a BRCA1 or BRCA2 genes, that risk alone jumps to over 60% risk, right? Now, this is other statistics people may not know. If you drink 1 alcoholic drink a day, that adds extra 10% risk. You drink 2 drinks daily, you get 20% more. You get 32% increase if you drink 3 to 4 drinks per day. So, and there's a sobering statistic that's coming out of US that 4 to 10% of breast cancer cases in the US alone are as a consequence of alcohol. So let that sink in for a second, right? So the question you got to ask yourself is, because there's this debate in the medical community as to whether alcohol is good for your cholesterol, alcohol is good for your heart. I would say, of course, this is something you can discuss with your doctor and figure out how your metabolism works. But my advice would be, like, if you look at the data and you have a risk of breast cancer, if you drink 2 drinks a day, that puts you 20% more. I'm not really sure that risk of whatever it's going to do for you cardiovascularly, respectfully, is worth that risk, And let's not forget that after menopause, women who are actually overweight or obese have like about 27% higher risk compared to those with normal weight. So this is why lifestyle medicine is so powerful. When you know all of this risk, it turns it into action. Then what happens to action? Action turns into prevention.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. So what do you say to women who ask, you know what, doctor, I get the mammograms every year and I still got cancer. I know someone that still got cancer. So really,
I think it's a very fair, very important question, and I've been asked that question a lot of times. I actually have women, because we do annual checkups. Some women will flat out decline the mammogram, and the rationale behind that is they perhaps heard stories of women who've never missed their mammogram, and they still get breast cancer.
Yeah.
My answer to that is always, there is no screening tool on earth as of today that is perfect. Mammograms will miss like about 1 in 8 cancers, right? Which means they do catch other cancers essentially, and in some instances much earlier, and that's typically when treatment works the best. So yes, screening with mammogram can miss cancer, but not screening at all is far worse in my estimation. It's like a seatbelt. It won't stop the crash, but it may save your life.
Right, that's a good analogy. You've seen all of this play out for years at work. So what else should women know, black women in particular?
Okay, so here is something critical. Black women are 40% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. And I don't want this to be like a race war, class war, whatever, but we don't get it more often, but we die from it more often. And then black women die much younger, right? And why, you may ask, and in some instances, access is one of the major ones.
Right.
The other part is late diagnosis. But part is also what we're exposed to. All right. So let's talk about that a bit more. Black women are more likely than any other race of women to use like hair products, right? Products like hair relaxers, skin lighteners, Brazilian blowouts, acrylic nails, fragrance
Brazilian
products.
blowouts?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Right? So,
okay.
and
I didn't
these
think that
are,
would be.
they're not just beauty products. Many of them contain carcinogens. Most of them contains chemicals that disrupt your natural hormones.
Right.
And these products are heavily marketed to black women and girls, right? So even a study found that black women who use hair dye every 5 to 8 weeks had a 60%, I believe it's 60% higher breast cancer risk. So it's not a coincidence, I would put it as, I would call it chemical crisis, right? So we need to be extraordinarily careful. I believe there is a website, we'll probably at some point, we may have to put it on our link.
Yep.
That links that would essentially tell you a lot more about what products have higher degrees of endocrine disruptors or hormone disruptors or contains carcinogens essentially. And I think, to be honest with you, if I was to make laws tomorrow, I would make sure that every product that you sell to black women, you need to slap it with like, this is the products in it, and whether it doesn't have to just put paraben free and then everybody buys it. You gotta have to specify there to say this may have some of the things that are listed by the WHO as carcinogens.
Right. Okay. Wow. You've called this chemical violence. So what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I call it chemical crisis, chemical violence, because when harm is normalized, especially within the black community, then it becomes invincible. But when self-care becomes self-harm, then I call it like chemical violence, right? So we are told to look good. But the question is, at what cost? If I tell you the number of people I used to work in a community that like have a significant number of Congolese. Most women will ask me which one is the safest bleaching cream they need to use, right? So it's, and that I use it as an opportunity to educate them about these products. Yeah, you can't educate. And most times when you educate one person, that's one of the beauty of this podcast.
Yeah, it is.
If you educate one person, they may never tell the next person. No. They never say a word. And that information just dies with them, right? So, so it's very important because we can't ignore the fact that black women are twice likely to be diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer, which is actually the most aggressive form, and only 47% of women with stage 3 triple negative survive within 5 years. Now, this is the most sobering part. When people hit stage 4, it goes from 47%, and it drops to a whopping 7%. Now, you may listen to this and you think this is just statistics. We are talking about lives, humans, your sisters, your mothers, your aunts. It's something that you gotta have to like let it sink in before you even proceed.
Yeah. Okay. So what can actually we do? What advice can you give today to help reduce these really aggressive risks?
I would say regular breast exams. People always ask how often should they do it?
Yeah.
I would say monthly.
Monthly. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So of course.
So in my clinic, I said to them, do it the first day of each month, so that way you remember.
Okay.
Right. And some of the questions people ask me is, I don't know what I'm looking for. Now, the WHO have very good information online about how to feel your breast. Even what we do in clinic is either I show them or I get my nurse to actually every annual physical that people come to see me in clinic. I'll get my nurse to teach them. Even if they know already, they go through it over again, particularly black women, but this goes across all women.
Yeah.
You have to know how to do a breast exam. So once you know what's your normal, anything that is out of ordinary, and this is like another thing, forgive me for probably staying on a bit too long on this one, is when I was working in breast clinic, a reasonable number of women who came with breast lump didn't actually find it themselves. It's actually their male partners that felt lump and encouraged their partners to come. Some people, because their breast milk tasted a bit different, or they actually like tasted the breast milk, and then they reflected it to us, and then we did scans, and then bang, right? So know your breast. If you have a partner, let your partner get to know your breast as well.
Okay.
Very important. Yeah. Then second is annual mammogram. So annual mammogram in most countries it starts at age of 40. I don't know about it, and I haven't actually looked into this. Perhaps I should have. Whether Africans actually do. So I don't know about most of these African countries whether they have like a scheduled annual mammograms, but I know that in most countries in the West, some of these countries they start at 40, some start at 45, but get your annual. Talk to your doctor about breast density, because some women have like more denser breasts than others. What we do in clinic is usually we get MRI scan as well. So you can get MRI or ultrasound in addition to the mammogram.
Right.
So for people who got family history, see your doctor. If you're listening to this today, go and see your doctor tomorrow morning. Make an inquiry about genetic testing, right? And now, one of the things that put a smile on my face a while ago is there's a breast cancer risk calculator. It's called the BWHS.
Yeah, we can link that as well.
So we can link that. It was developed using data only from black women in the US.
That's amazing.
And it gives more accurate risk profile over 5 years. Yeah, but we'll put that, then go home, have a audit your beauty products, replace them one by one. It's not about perfection. You gotta have to start thinking about protection. Okay, that sounds actually good. It's not about perfection; it's about protection. Yeah. So then limit your alcohol, manage your weight, because the more overweight you are, you're at risk of some other medical conditions. Move your body. So lifestyle really make a difference. And most of all, speak up, ask questions, get second opinion. If you go to your doctor today and then your doctor I'm not quite sure whether you really need this now or not, go to the next doctor. Find somebody else, or bring a loved one to an appointment if needed. This is your life.
Amen. Yeah, of course. Wow. So, and I always love how you have always blended science with spirituality in your work. It's never either or both and. So that's really good.
Exactly. Yeah, I always say to people, I was like, it's not about God versus doctors.
Yeah.
It's about God and doctors. God and mammogram. God and exercise. God and nutrition. One of my favorite Bible quotation is like Hosea 5:8. It says, "My people are dying due to lack of knowledge." So the knowledge is there. You got to use it. Yeah. So knowledge. Use knowledge essentially as a tool. Faith is not the absence of action. It's essentially faith is what fuels the action. Essentially, go by faith.
Yep. And final word, someone's watching this or listening in and they're feeling a bit overwhelmed. What's the one thing that they can or should do today?
Like my usual step, pick one small step, just one, right? It could be you go today, you log into your online and then you check on the BHO on how to do breast exam. You can, if you haven't booked a mammogram, you can make arrangement to book mammogram, even if you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Check one product label, go to your bathroom, look at your beauty products and say to yourself, is there any particular one here that I really, really have to like drop? Go for a walk, talk to your mother, talk to your sisters, your daughter, your doctor, because silence kills, awareness saves life. Yeah. So, and to every black woman listening, the most important takeaway today is that you are not invincible. Your life matters and you're not powerless. That's why we doing all these topics. We take our time of the day. I just finished like almost a 12-hour clinic, and then we sitting here talking about stuff like this is so that we'll be able to nourish our people with knowledge. And then if you hear about it, tell somebody else.
Please do.
Send it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. We don't really gain anything from people liking or subscribing. Essentially, it helps us to get the message out there, knowing that people are actually getting our information. Yeah. So you matter. That's the most important takeaway today.
Thank you, Doctor. Wow, that was a lot of information to take in, and just choose one element and just start today. But as Doctor said, if the conversation moved you, please do not keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and share. Leave a review on a podcast platform that you have listened to this through. It could save someone's life. So until next time, please stay empowered, stay informed, stay well, and we will see you in the next episode.